We begin tonight with an update near the cities of Hubbard and Woodburn, where a nonverbal 2-year-old girl who went missing last night was thankfully found safe this afternoon. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Evan Watson. The child spent over 18 hours in the woods near her home off Yoder Road and Highway 211. Let's bring in Daisy Caballero, who has been following the story for us today. So Daisy, how did all this unfold?
Well, Evan, I'd like to first point out that the Clackamas Sheriff's Office is not citing foul play here. They tell me 2-year-old Raylene Mishler's teen brother was watching her when she disappeared and left the community wondering what happened to her.
We're all just very relieved when we found her.
After a nearly 18-hour search in a rural part of Hubbard, 2-year-old Raylene Mishler was found safe on Sunday morning after wandering away from her home on Yoder Road and Highway 211. Neighbors say the young girl's mother ran up to their house looking for the 2-year-old.
She just said that she came home, that she got a call from work, and that her baby was missing, and she said that the little girl had taken off her clothes and was looking, and so they didn't think that she had anything on.
According to the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, around 7:30 Saturday night, Raylene's older teen brother was watching her. That's until the teen took his eyes off her and she disappeared, leaving her pink pajamas out front, according to neighbors.
I just can't imagine. And the mom was so distraught, and I felt so bad for her, and I told her, just take a breath, let's get you some support, let's call the police, that will help. And so she finally did. So
Lieutenant Marcus Mendoza with the Clackamas Sheriff's Office says multiple agencies and search crews helped locate Raylene nearly a quarter of a mile away from her home.
She was out in maybe a hay field would be the best way to describe it, big grassy field, about one quarter mile from her home.
Lieutenant Mendoza says 2 crews were searching the area and located the 2-year-old around 11 Sunday morning, saying she was alert and responsive, but was dehydrated.
One of the searchers told me that she was laying on her stomach and just kind of lifted her head up and looked right at them when they were walking by.
Raylene was reunited with her family and was transported to the hospital to be checked out.
At this point, there's no foul play that we're aware of, but we are making sure that we're doing a thorough investigation.
Now, I did ask Lieutenant Mendoza why an Amber Alert wasn't sent out, and he explained it's a tool that is used under certain circumstances, but with this specific case, there was no information about an abduction connected to Raylene. We'll have more on this at KGW.com. Back to you, Evan.
Thank you, Daisy. Now to an update on Oregon Secretary of State Shemia Fagan. She's set to resign tomorrow. Fagan steps down amid controversy over her former side job as a consultant. She worked for a cannabis company that paid her $10,000 a month while overseeing a state audit on the cannabis industry. On Monday, Fagan apologized to Oregonians. She said her $77,000 a year salary wasn't enough to support her family. Ethics rules do allow for outside employment, but now lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say it's time to consider tightening those rules and increase salaries. Fagan's Deputy Secretary of State made more than 3 times her salary, a product of Oregon's laws and salary restrictions for the state's top officials. That deputy will now step in for Fagan while Governor Tina Kotek considers a permanent replacement. Washington Governor Jay Inslee is set to sign a group of new bills into law tomorrow, all centered around housing. Among them will be a measure to accelerate the construction of new housing, and one that's designed to help the supply and affordability of condos and townhouses. Another increase is so-called middle housing in areas that are traditionally dedicated to single-family homes. Also in Washington, crews are repairing a ramp on State Route 99, which had a big hole open up in the pavement last week. The State Department of Transportation says crews poured concrete on the ramp from the West Seattle Bridge yesterday. WashDOT says it will take a few days for the concrete to properly cure before the ramp can safely reopen. The hole forced the ramp's closure on Tuesday evening. Drivers have been taking alternative routes during the ramp closure. The Red Cross is helping 7 families displaced in Seaside after a large fire tore through their apartment building. Fire crews got the call last night just after 8 p.m., responding to an apartment building on South Columbia Street. The fire was so big it could be seen throughout downtown Seaside. Crews worked quickly to control the fire, and it took about a half an hour to put it out. One person was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. We're right in the middle of Oregon's commercial crabbing season, and deckhands are pulling heavy crab pots every day. But as they do, they're often paying a price with back and shoulder injuries. Tim Gordon reports that researchers are working with commercial fishers to see what they can do.
Commercial crabbing is a labor-intensive business, and crabbing may be hardest on the body. That's because of what's required to harvest Dungeness crab from the Pacific Ocean floor. The pots that go out must come back in. A power winch does that. But then it's all muscle coming from deckhands over and over again. That leads to a high percentage of injuries.
Many of those limiting injuries actually happens from the deckhands. And while they're dealing with those fishing gears and crab pots and things like that.
Oregon State University professor Jay Kim says their past research shows 80 to 85% of commercial fishermen have experienced muscle and skeletal disorders or injuries, most to the lower back and shoulders. Now OSU is working to fine-tune a piece of equipment that commercial fishers developed called a banger bar, used on some boats to make the emptying of crab pots less taxing. Researchers are in the lab studying how the banger bar works and how it affects the body. Using electrode sensors and 3D motion capture cameras, they can gather information that can help improve its use. For instance,
height matters. So, what would be the good level of this bar height so that those fishermen can bang their crab pot against to the bar to release those crabs without bending their back and shoulder too much.
Kim says he's met a lot of those in the fishing industry doing his work, and they've been great, with everyone looking to make the job of commercial fishing a little less stressful.
We would like to provide sort of useful information to them to serve the population to make their workplace safer.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Well, it's been a cloudy and rainy weekend in the Rose City. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joins us from the Weather Center with your first forecast. And Joe, not much need for raincoats for the rest of this week, is that right?
No, pretty much no. Might see some light showers tomorrow morning into the afternoon with a slight chance to see some thunderstorms develop, but the most activity is going to be along the east side of the state, and that's kind of what we have been seeing here the last couple of days. Basically, your forecast out there the rest of your Sunday night is going to be similar to what you saw last night. All seeing a little bit of some light precipitation falling on the radar right now. East side of the state, a slight chance to see some thunderstorms develop up near Boise and along the Oregon-Idaho border, but heading into the next couple of days, we'll gradually see our temperatures warm up. And between now and next Sunday, which of course is Mother's Day, we could be seeing a chance for our first 90-degree day. Right now, we're seeing a temperature of 61 degrees. You got some high clouds out there over in Newport, more thick clouds over in Newport with a temperature of 54 degrees at this hour. And as we look at the rest of your Sunday, again, some light sprinkles here and there, but for the most part, the heavier precipitation won't be moving into our area until basically right around 6 o'clock tomorrow morning on your morning commute, and then we'll start to dry out starting Tuesday. So we'll gradually warm up. It's going to be very comfortable, but again, by the end of next week, it might be a little uncomfortable for some people. I'll talk more about the chance of seeing our first 90-degree day and how long the stretch of the potential of record heat will be staying with us.
You got it. Thanks, Joe. This weekend marked a major milestone for students across Oregon and Washington. It's graduation season, and that includes the University of Portland. 2 commencement ceremonies happened today at the university's Child Center. Most of the graduates started college in the fall of 2019. That means they navigated their studies through virtual learning and the COVID-19 pandemic. Really, nothing we've seen before. Now they've earned their degrees and are celebrating with family, friends, and the entire UP community. Ari Shapiro, co-host of All Things Considered, an NPR award-winning news magazine, was the commencement speaker. Shapiro's mother taught communication studies for many years at UP. University of Portland School of Nursing graduates also crossed the stage today. A pinning ceremony was held yesterday welcoming these soon-to-be nurses into the profession. There are 252 nursing graduates in the class of 2023, making it the largest graduating class at UP and in Oregon's history. Washington State University in Vancouver is welcoming 847 new graduates to their alumni list as well. A graduation ceremony was held yesterday afternoon at the RVN-style Resorts Amphitheater in Ridgefield. 68 of the graduates received their master's degree. A huge congratulations to this entire class of 2023.